Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul McMillan, and I am the ABC Coordinator, District Parent Coordinator for Cincinnati Public Schools. Just want to welcome you all to tonight's broadcast and to tonight's district-wide parent meeting. We have a lot of things in store for you all tonight. We will be listening to your voices. Most importantly, we will be providing a lot of resources and information that you all can use and that will be beneficial for your families as well as all of the students and families throughout the district. Tonight, we want to make sure that everything is in line with our Cincinnati Public Schools strategic plan, a roadmap to success. Student-centered decision making. Next slide, please, Ashley. Next slide, please. Student-centered decision making, health and safety, community engagement and influence, optimized capabilities, and growth. Next slide, please. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in. Presenting first will be a speaker that we call Safety Cindy. Her name is Cynthia Albania, and she'll be speaking in regards to public health and safety. Next slide, please. Cynthia.
Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate that introduction, and I am certainly very excited to be here in front of everybody. Thank you, everybody, for attending. There's a lot of new processes that are being put in place, so it's all very, very exciting. I am Cynthia Egvalnia, Safety Cindy. People remember that a lot easier, and can identify with what my job is, and that's environmental and occupational health and safety. I'm also over workers' comp for the district. Next slide, please. Thank you. So you can see here a few points that I plan to cover and touch base on, which I think are things that we've covered before, but certainly very important to make sure that we discuss them now. And I think you'd be interested in these topic points. We believe and certainly support student health and safety as a top priority at the district. We continue to navigate through this COVID changing landscape, and we as a district continue to be guided by local, state, and federal guidelines and recommendations. So utilizing these recommendations and these local guidelines, we develop our plans. We develop and implement and update our plans, which they're fluid plans. As things change, as different guidance comes out, we have to make adjustments to our plans. So it's a very comprehensive plan. It's online. You all have access to it. But again, we adjust it as our situation is fluid and dynamic. So we're very, very fortunate to have strong community partnerships. And we remain in constant contact with these partners, which include the city health department, the school and adolescent program through the city health department, communicable disease unit, and the Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center. So these are very strong partners that we have, and we stay in contact with them. Some of us meet daily and sometimes twice a day to go over information that is key at the moment, maybe situations that are arising, or to go over cases, look at possible situations, do investigations, and talk about possible transmissions and changes that need to be done at a school level or district level. So I want you to understand we are so blessed to have this strong relationship with our outside partners. So the picture here is on the right, a student COVID-19 guide that was developed early on. It's an excellent resource. And then it's going to be in it's It's available online, and I have a resource page at the end of my presentation just to point people to it so that it's an easy way to get to it. The bottom picture is our district cumulative COVID-19 dashboard. And again, at the back end of my presentation, I've got information on how to get to those resources. The next slide, please. We're very fortunate to work with, again, our partners, and that includes the Cincinnati Health Department School Health Program. And so with this program comes with some excellent expertise. We have a school nurse from the City Health Department in every single one of our buildings. And the school nurse is phenomenal. She is boots on the ground. She is that expert, and she has the knowledge to work through and navigate situations at that building level. So many of you might have talked with your school nurse. They're a phenomenal resource, and they would be your contact at the school level. They do student testing on site and also available by appointment. So if you're interested in that testing, please contact the school nurse office at your school, and that's available for the students. They're also involved with student contact tracing. They also work with the city communicable disease unit on cluster identification and follow-up. So again, they are our experts at each of the school districts, and they will get my office involved where I can help. I also want to point out, just really quick, that is one thing they do. They also do many other things relative to student wellness, which includes some of the things I listed at the bottom of the slide, which is immunizations, audits, fluid clinics, flu clinics, etc. I also want to point out this collaborative effort that we have with the City Health Department and Cincinnati Children's Hospital, which is that collaborative of making available that student testing, and it is a 24-hour turnaround time. So if your son or daughter is tested today, they will most likely, usually and customary, get results back by the end of the business day, the next business day. Next slide. So it's just a great opportunity, great connection. Next slide. So I wanted to point out, as we go on to the next slide, it is important to talk about the safety and health tips. So these are things that you have certainly heard about, and in different, you're most likely very familiar with these, but I do want to re-emphasize them. That would be daily health assessments. So we're on the next slide. Hopefully we can get there. So the daily health assessments is thank you. So that's a safety and health key thing, is to do a daily health assessment. That's monitoring your symptoms before your son or daughter or yourself go out into public, go out on transportation, go out to a school. So those daily health assessments are very important in the morning time frame, and certainly stay at home if you're sick. Social distancing is also a very key and fundamental part of our program and anybody's program as they're going out into the public. And as we continue to move forward, we will maximize that social distancing to the extent possible. And if we can, we will maintain it at 6 feet. But if not, we will do it again to that maximum extent possible. Also avoiding touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, because that's how you can actually transmit things that are on your hands into, transmit it to yourself. And universal masking, absolutely important. Even for those that have vaccinations and are fully vaccinated, they should be universally masking when they go out into the public, and that includes our school buildings. Also, hand washing is very important. So I do want to, on the next slide, talk just briefly about our school response to a COVID case, so you're comfortable with what we are doing here at the schools. This may not be new to people because we've been doing this all along, but here is our school response process. We investigate. That's first and most important. So before we start sending notifications out, we have to investigate it. We need to identify who those close contacts are. So that's a close contact identification. When we have a case, that's the first thing we do, and then we notify the health department. It's the health department that comes in and helps strategize and does the contact tracing in addition to the close contact identifications that we've made. They also help us with the cluster identifications, and this is all done at the local level, at the school level, and they will get, again, CDU involved and the school health department involved. Then there's notifications that are made, and that includes just a general building notification of a positive case. If it was in our building, we will send out that building notification. And then we first and foremost do a close contact notification, and those are individuals who actually have a close contact with an individual. So notifications are important. The investigation is first. Cleaning is also equally important. I put here daily cleaning. That's not necessarily a response to a COVID case, but I wanted to emphasize it. Daily cleaning happens at the end of the day in every single classroom. Every single classroom, the tabletops are disinfected and the chairs are disinfected. And I just wanted to make sure that you guys were aware of that. That's a phenomenal effort. It's a heavy lift, but it's done every day. Then if we have a COVID case, we have specific protocols that we follow for cleaning, which is that lower right-hand picture. Also important to mention is that there is monitoring done for the individuals who are out for various reasons. That monitoring is done to make sure that they're coming back in a timely fashion and not too soon. So I do want to highlight that everybody should be reporting absences and why individuals are absent to your school absentee line. We do want to know if your student is absent because of COVID or symptoms or reasons related to COVID, such as exposed and quarantining. Those are things that we keep track of. Next slide. So as we kind of circle up to the end here, what I'd like to emphasize is vaccinations. We can report out, or it has been reported out, that we have a high level of staff that have been fully vaccinated, which is phenomenal. But it's still important to understand that we need to comply with those safety protocols. Social distancing, mask wearing, hand washing, etc. Just because you've been fully vaccinated doesn't allow those things to be gone by the wayside. So those safety protocols are still very important to be done within the public, when you're out in the public, and within Cincinnati public school buildings. Also following up with close contact and quarantining guidelines. And that information is fluid, right? As we know more and we can adjust our protocols, those will also change and be adjusted. I wanted to point out here for community members relative to vaccinations, check with your local health department. And I've got several websites here, the city website and the Hamilton County, those go direct to their vaccination signups, or check with your personal health care provider. But that's really exciting information. Next slide. And this would be, I believe, my final slide that talks about the resources. The parent website is actually a link that I provided here. If you go to our public website, you can click on the Back to School link, and you will be able to find the information, including the COVID-19, a link to the COVID-19 dashboard. Also very important as a resource is, again, the school nurse. And then I also added the Centers for Disease Control link. There are other state and local websites that I could list there also, but I didn't want to inundate you with too much information. So I know a lot of that was pretty basic, but it's also very important to refresh and remind ourselves of those things. I appreciate everybody being here. I'm happy to take some questions, or if we want to wait until the end. So hopefully I didn't go over too much of time. Thank you.
Thank you, Safety Cindy. What we'll do is, the process tonight will be, we'll take 3 questions after each presenter. We have 3 questions in the chat right now. I'll read those questions to you, Safety Cindy, and then you can take some time to go ahead and answer those questions. Once we get to the end of all of the presentations, we'll go ahead. It'll be about 30, maybe 35 minutes remaining in our meeting, and we'll go ahead and take the raise the hand feature, so everyone will be able to ask questions by raising their hand. But we'll take 3 questions after each presenter. So the first question we have, Safety Cindy, is Julian says, did the health department say that they're going back to 0 feet? Is that okay?
I don't think the health department said 0 feet, but we are certainly working with both the local health department and the state to ensure that our guidelines that we're providing as far as coming back is the best that we have and the best guidance. So that has yet more information can be available as we develop our plans for that 5-day back period. So stay tuned for more information. I understand your question.
Next question. Elisa asks, where are you going to find or where are you going to get 6 feet between students at Walnut Hills?
Right. So Walnut Hills is a good question. We will try to, our goal is to maximize that distance as much as possible, but we cannot, it may not be 6 feet. It's, certainly something that we are trying to maximize to the extent possible, but it may not be 6 feet.
So Rachel had a similar question. I think we have a couple questions about the distance, the 6 feet. Let's see if we have anything other than the distance of 6 feet. Okay, I think that question, your answer pretty much answered the next 2 or 3 questions. If parents, if you all have additional questions, save those to the end, use the raise your hand feature, and we'll take care of those questions and answer them in the best way possible. So we're going to move right. Thank you, Safety Cindy. Really appreciate you. We're going to move right along. We're going to jump. We'll be jumping now to curriculum and instruction. And from in curriculum and instruction, we have our science, PE, health and wellness curriculum manager for K through 12, Miss Liz Wolf.
Hi, everyone. It is a pleasure being with you this evening, and thank you for having me, Paul, and your team. I look forward to chatting with you guys about CPS TV. As Paul said, my name is Liz Wolf. I am the curriculum manager for science, physical education, and health wellness in the district. The CPS TV is an awesome channel that we have created homegrown grassroots effort around. It is available on cable through Cincinnati Bell or Spectrum, channel 804 if you have Cincinnati Bell, or on channel 15 if you have Spectrum. It is available 24 hours a day, but we do have structured academic content that plays every Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 3:30, including days that we are not in school for conferences, spring break, summer, or any of our holidays. That academic content is still played on those days. We have many local partnerships that have worked with us to provide really high quality videos. And just a few of those partners are the UC Bearcats, the Cincinnati Reds, iSpace, which is a local math and science field trip vendor, the Cincinnati Zoo, Cincinnati Museum Center, Science Around Cincy. Our fabulous CPS teachers have really stepped up and helped us with content for CPS TV. And then we also have many health videos from the Cincinnati Health Gap group, who are also supporting our health fair next week for our high school students. Smart Path, and the list can just go on, but it really has been a local effort from our teachers, fellow employees and departments, and from our partners as well to provide content 24 hours a day on this channel. Next slide, please. So we do have structured playlist, and this is how it's divided up throughout the week. So on Monday and Wednesdays, we have 100% of our videos are tied to English language arts, finance education, physical education, and health. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have our STEAM content. So we have a lot of our, all of our science, our technology, our engineering, art, math, and music videos playing for this time frame. And then on Fridays, we have our Fun Friday videos. So whereas the Monday through Thursday videos are all connected to our state standards and our core content, we have our Fun Friday videos are more of videos from local partners and teachers that are still educational, still academic, but not so closely aligned with our standards, but still an educational opportunity. So while we do have in the 7:30 to 3:30 timeframe a really structured schedule, after 3:30 all the way through 7:30 is a mixture of different videos from across CPS that aren't necessarily tied to these themes, but just represent CPS as a whole outside of this 7:30 to 3:30 timeframe. Next slide, please. Thank you, Ashley. So here are just a few videos of some of the examples that we do have. We have, hundreds of them, but we have really great ones from the zoo. This particular zoo video is talking about how species survive over time. We have our fabulous third grade math teacher from Roselawn Condon. He has given us quite a few varieties at the third grade math level using Prodigy, which is a video game math software, which is really interesting. We also have student videos as well. So Christian is a student at SCPA and created a video from his drama class. So we have many student videos that are played on CPS TV as well. We have videos from our intervention specialists that connect our science, social studies, ELA, and math content to literature. And then we have Dr. Izzy Rudnick has worked with Johnny Hodges, a famous and local jazz guru, and has provided a series of videos about jazz as well. So those are played as well. And then we also have a CPS TV commercial, which is what that little QR code is. So if you're watching CPS TV and you see that QR code come up, feel free to go ahead and scan it, and there is a really brief survey, less than 5 questions, that just gives us some feedback on how we can improve this channel so we know what we're doing well and how we can improve. So I did mention in the previous slide that our schedules from Monday through Friday is structured from that 7:30 in the morning to the 3:30 in the afternoon time frame. And this is how it is broken down for Monday through Friday. We have story time from 7:30 to 8 o'clock. So we have many, many books read by our board members, by many of our leaders here in CPS, teachers as well, and a few partner members as well. From 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, we have our preschool content that is 100% focused on the early childhood learning. From kindergarten through third grade, we have all of that content being played from 9 to 10:30, and then it progresses throughout the day. So then we go to content that is appropriate for 4th through 6th grade. We have a break in the middle of the day for some physical activity, some yoga, music, enrichment activities, and things like that. And then in the afternoon, we go into videos and academic content that are tied to our secondary education. So we are always looking to, again, just share academic content in another format and in another way that is accessible to everyone. Next slide, please. Thank you so much, and please let me know if you have any questions or concerns about CPS TV, and thank you again, Paul, and to your team for having me here tonight.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time, Liz. Thanks for coming to spend some time with us to give our parents some resources and some information about curriculum. So let's see if we have any questions in the chat as it relates to curriculum or CPS TV. It doesn't look like it. Okay. We'll continue to move on. Next, I know a lot of parents have been receiving text message and emails, what we call pulse checks. Very happy. Our district is very happy to partner with POSSIP. POSSIP has been doing a great job in collaboration with our district. So we have Caitlin on, the experience and support manager from POSSIP, and she's going to talk a little bit about those pulse checks or those small, short surveys that the parents throughout the district have been receiving. Caitlin?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Paul, for the introduction. And I'm so excited to talk with all of you parents tonight. The goal is to help you get a really great sense of this tool, POSSIP, so that you know about this way of sharing feedback with your school leaders and strengthening your schools. So Ashley, you can move on to the next slide. And the next one. Awesome. So school and district partners around the U.S. come to POSSIP because they want to strengthen their schools through feedback from families, just like you. So they say to us, what we really need is the ability to tap into more diverse voices. They host events like this one and all kinds of other events and community engagement efforts so that they can hear from you and prioritize your voice and share FaceTime with you. So they also really want to hear from you routinely, which is why POSSIP exists. Can you move to the next slide, Ashley? Our partners like CPS know that true engagement means checking in and hearing from parents frequently. So this feedback becomes even more powerful when it includes the entirety of the parent voice, allowing schools to find unique opportunities and commonalities from a really diverse group of families with lots of different situations for their students. This is an image actually of our CEO and founder, Shani. POSSIP was started in Nashville by Shani, who's a mom of two and a former teacher. And the idea came from a conversation with her husband, who's also an educator. They were around the dinner table and he was talking about a parent issue that had really grown big. So as Shani was listening to this story, she found herself empathizing with the school and the teachers, but she was also really empathizing as a parent. And with the parent in the situation. So she wondered what would have helped this parent share this before it became an issue, and what would have helped the school get in front of it, and more so, what information from other parents might contribute to the solution or tell a similar story. So all of these ideas converged. And she started looking for a routine, frequent way to bridge parents and school communication. So POSSIP was born. And we started with something called pulse checks, which Paul told us all about. So we'll talk more about those. Ashley, if you'll change the slide. A pulse check is a snapshot in time. So it's like taking your pulse. It includes a few short questions, and it's sent to you by text and by email every other week. So you got one today asking about your experience at school. And we ask the same questions routinely, along with a unique bonus question each time. And asking these same questions helps your school monitor if they're consistently meeting your expectations. So are you happy with your experience this week? Do you have any new questions, ideas, or praise to share since the last pulse check? Has something good happened that you want to share? So we'll move on to the next slide, and I'll show you what a pulse check looks like. Cool, this is the first part of a pulse check, and so you would get this on your phone, and you should be getting this on your phone every other week. And so it starts with just a question asking about your experience that week. So we ask you simply, are you happy with your school this week? Respond yes, mostly, or no. And when you respond, you get the next text message, which is a bonus question that is sent to you from the district or from your school. So it asks a very relevant question about things that are happening that the school's trying to make decisions on. For example, just recently they asked as a district actually about social studies curriculum, sometimes about parent participation in programs. So all kinds of neat questions can show up in this bonus question. So once you respond with your happiness, yes, mostly, or no, you get this bonus question and you get to contribute to something that the school or district is really making a decision about or learning about in real time. And then if you can move to the next slide, Ashley. We wrap up the pulse check with 2 last questions. So just asking those parents who are happy or mostly happy what praise, ideas, or questions you have. And then if you answered no, you're not happy at that point in time, we lean into that and ask what needs or concerns you have. Finally, we ask if you want to share your name, because we know that sometimes you have feedback that you want to keep in a safe, private space. That you don't want to share your name, but you want to make sure it gets to the principal. You want to make sure that they understand the situation that your student is having. In that case, you may choose to be anonymous. But then there are also times when you may ask for specific help for your student, for academic support, or anything else. And you may want to share your name so that the school can contact you and follow up on that feedback. So that's the entirety of a pulse check. We close it by just welcoming you to share feedback at any time, but also want you to get used to that routine and to know that you're going to get a text message and an email asking you these questions no matter what every 2 weeks. And it's your opportunity to share how your experience has been if you have something to share. And even if that's just things are going great, thank you so much for checking, that's enough for the school to know where you are and where your student is at that point in time. So it only takes a minute to reply to the pulse check. Ashley, if you can move to the next slide. CPS has heard from almost 10,000 parents since December through this simple texting platform. So parents have shared ideas on, as I said, curriculum, safety, making friends, and emotional health for their students, academic support and attendance, all kinds of things, whatever is most important to you and your students' experience at that time. But I did want to give you some examples of what can be shared, just so you feel really confident knowing next time you get that text message or that email, the types of things that other parents share, and it might help you as well to know what to share. So definitely celebrate the good with praise. Praise means so much to your teachers. It means so much to your school, knowing what's going well. So you can recognize people, you can encourage specific people and call them out by name. You can also share improvements that you've noticed, things that have changed that you really like. Or you can just talk in general about what you're loving about your current experience so that the school knows that's something to replicate, that's something to continue to talk about and to continue to do well for our parents. You can also share feedback and needs. So this helps the school get in front of any problems, just like that story I told you about Shawnee and the founding of POSSUP. It's a way to help the school understand an issue is bubbling up before it becomes big and difficult to solve. So anytime you have a need that you're noticing, bring it up as soon as you notice it and let the school react to that so that they can continue to meet your students' needs. So you can also share concerns about performance, whether that's your student's performance or the school's performance. You can tell the school what you need in terms of resources, in terms of equipment or technology. Ask for help. Be very straightforward. I need help with XYZ, and leave your name if you'd like to be contacted. So in that case, don't choose anonymity. Choose to share your name so that can start a conversation about the feedback and the needs that you have. There's an example here. My son hasn't made any friends this semester. It would help if we had some virtual clubs. So obviously CPS is doing a great job in this area. This is just generic feedback, but it's a great example of the types of things that might be shared. And then last, ask questions. If you need more communication, if you're craving answers to something, if you have a certain topic that you just really need to know more about, this is a perfect place to ask a question, and again, to share your name so that you can get some follow-up and you can get an answer. So an example of that would be something like, our internet hasn't been working, we're struggling to stay connected, can you help us? If you don't know if the district or the school can help, just ask and you'll find out. And so what happens with your feedback? Let's talk about that next. Ashley, can you switch the slides, please? POSSUP has a team of reporters, a big team of reporters, and each of them are assigned to one of your schools within the district. they get to see the feedback that parents from your school supply every 2 weeks. And so they're really, as an individual reporter, learning about the experience at the school and learning very deeply about the experiences of parents and seeing those reoccurring experiences. They see if a parent has commented on curriculum, 3 times in a row, or if a parent has stated they're having technology problems a few times in a row. And they also see the trending feedback that maybe 5 parents have commented on needing help with technology, or 10 parents have said that their history teachers are just doing a fantastic job. So these reporters actually look at all the feedback that comes through for a particular school, and we create a report that we deliver to the school just 48 hours later. So the report will surface praise and highlights that are used to encourage teachers and staff. Then principals will send that praise to teachers personally or include it in a staff newsletter so that there can be shout outs, so that everyone can feel really great about the work that their teammates are doing. So this praise is so important. It's an opportunity for you to encourage teachers to continue leading your child and mentoring your child. And it also helps you share what's working well so that schools know what you like and what they should lean into. They use your praise to learn what you love, and that is information that helps them continue to be successful in your eyes and with your student. We also prioritize feedback. So if you can move to the next slide, Ashley, there will be an example of this. We take all of the feedback and label it as hot, medium, or cool in terms of what needs to be followed up on quickly and what can become a conversation amongst the school team, something they may want to talk about over time. So we let them know on each report after you've done the pulse check, the 10 issues that are coming up that they really might want to follow up on quickly, that type of thing, for example. So your feedback is also really important, and if you're expecting follow-up, be sure to share your name at the end of the pulse check. Schools can connect with you to help you resolve your needs, and more importantly, they can use your feedback to advocate for your student. And the district can do that as well. The district can say, at 40 of our schools, this one topic has come up, and we really want to advocate for students and talk about this as a district team. So you're helping your individual school, and you're also helping the district learn about what parents want when you provide feedback on what you need. And then they look at this collectively to learn what the parent body wants and needs. So, you may not have a lot to share one week, but sharing how your experience is going is contributing to a larger conversation, and it's helping the school to see what is, 30% of our parents, what are they saying? What are 40% of our parents saying? It really helps them understand the parent body wants and needs as well. So if you'll move to the next slide, Ashley. The last thing I'll share about what happens with your feedback, hopefully you've gotten a great sense of how your praise and how your needs and concerns help an individual school and how that bigger story helps the district. But also you should know that you're contributing to an even larger story, that CPS is able to get historical data and reports that help them prepare for the future. So, as I said, they've heard from about 10,000 parents since December. That's information that they have stored and at their fingertips to see what's changing over time, what changed from, December to March. And then even at the end of the year, they can look at how is our whole semester, what types of topics came up at what time of year. And this really helps them prepare for the next year and think deeply about those topics year over year. And you should know most of the people that work with POSSUM do so year after year after year. And so this really becomes ingrained in the culture of your school, and everyone really starts to get on board with parent feedback and how meaningful that is. Your voice also helps educators around the U.S. So you can see a picture here of Trends in Family Feedback. Our latest blog, which shows the trends in family feedback every week, will just talk about what our thousands and thousands of parents around the U.S. are saying. And what's so cool and interesting is that you'll find whether your student's at a public school or a private school, or whether your student is in high school or elementary. There's so many common experiences that parents share across the U.S. And just recently, we heard a lot about academic progress and communication around that. Parents really seeking more communication around grades. We've heard a lot about virtual classroom management and substitute teachers. So just know that you're a part of a bigger story, and also you're helping to strengthen your local school and district. So we wanted to let you know how to get help and how you can reach out. If you aren't receiving POSIP, jot down this email or jot down this website and let us know. All of that information will come to me and Jasmine, who you see pictured here, and we will make sure that you always get POSIP. Thanks so much, Paul.
Thank you very much, Caitlin. We do have a few questions as it relates to POSIP. So Carol says, if we share our name, who sees it? So if we share our name with POSIP, who sees it?
Yeah, so the first person to see it would be the reporter assigned to your school, of course. But the other individuals that see that are the folks who receive the report. And so at the school level, that's generally a principal, an assistant principal, and a resource coordinator. And then at the district level, your comment may also be viewed in terms of like larger trends. And in that case, your name will also be shared. But I would say that primarily the place where your name is shared and really noted is with that relationship with the school leadership, the principal, the resource coordinator, and the assistant principal, the same people that would likely be reaching out to you or that would ask someone on their team to contact you if needed.
Thank you, Caitlin. One other question. Let's see. Why will there? Just to reiterate, we will answer questions as it relates to the presenters at the end of each presentation. We do have time allocated at the end of the meeting for parents to ask questions with the raise your hand feature. So after each presenter, we will answer questions on the current presentation. I think this is a question maybe for me, Caitlin. Deandra says, why doesn't Mr. McMillan speak at the board meeting on behalf of POSIP and concerns he receives from parents? Deandra, there is a team. I work as a part of a team. I'm a part of the Community Learning Center team, and our manager is Ms. Casey Fisher. Our team reports out to each other and then to our manager, which is Ms. Casey Fisher. Ms. Casey Fisher then takes that data, that information, and reports to the assistant superintendent, who is Ms. Shauna Murphy. Ms. Shauna Murphy then meets with our superintendent, and everything all is a part of our district-wide goals handed down from the board. So while I may not report out directly, I do report back to my team, to our manager, and everything that I do does go into the grand scheme of things as to what we're doing and trying to accomplish throughout the district. Let's see here.
All the time too.
Let's see if we have any more POSIP questions. Okay. All right. Looks like we don't have any other POSIP questions. One parent did ask, will some of their questions, will you ever get a response back to my questions on POSIP? So basically when they respond on the text message, will they get a response to their questions?
Yeah, so that's very, I guess you can look at the feedback in two different ways. So think of it in two different ways and know that your particular school has a strategy for managing the feedback. And so one way that they'll manage it is through direct responses. And you can even ask if you've sent something through POSIP and you haven't gotten a response, you can even say on your report, like, hey, I really want to talk about this. Can someone please contact me? And that will, help to just encourage that you get some follow-up there on that feedback. But we do hope that you do, and we do encourage that and help support principals as they create systems around that so that they can easily follow up with you. And then the other thing that happens is our schools will use your feedback as like part of a larger story. And so they talk to their staff in newsletters and meetings about what they're hearing. as a parent body. And so they may just be covering that more internally. So just ask for what you need on your pulse check. But absolutely, your reports are read, and, letting your leadership team know that you want to hear back from them is something we encourage as well.
Thank you, Caitlin. So for the sake of time, to make sure that we at least have 25, 30 minutes or so for parents to be able to comment and ask questions, we're going to move right along. Next, we'll have some comments and resource sharing from our CPS dining services, the student dining services, and that will be the student dining services manager, Mr. Eric Zacharias. Eric, take it away.
Good evening, and thank you for having me tonight. I wanted to go over some information about student dining services. You can go to the next slide, please, Ashley. So to give you a little background,
So Eric may have froze, so what we're going to do is we're going to keep moving. Ashley, if you could skip to our next presenter, and then we'll come back to Eric once. Next, we'll have a presentation from our Cincinnati Public Schools Athletics Manager, Mr. Josh Hardin.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate you putting this together today. I just want to take some time to also thank Assistant Superintendent Shauna Murphy, who saw the importance of the parent coordinator role in engaging our community, and for partnering with Activities Beyond the Classroom to bring on Paul McMillan and engage and host events like this. So thank you, Paul. As Paul said, I'm the District Athletics Manager, overseeing athletics and extracurriculars for the district. Been doing this for the last 5 years. I was an AD at Walnut Hills for the 4 years prior to that, and I'm a product of Walnut Hills and Cincinnati Public Schools. Next slide, please. As we come up on a year from the start of COVID, we know that it has been a very difficult year for so many of us. I'd like to take a second to commend our staff, students, parents, and community for your resilience. Collaborate and Care campaign. This was launched at the start of the pandemic. Many things were on pause, including our athletic department. We were able to step in and support our students and city throughout the Collaborate and Care campaign. We worked with Jessica Shelley and Eric, who just hopped off, and their team at the Food Hub sites, and we were able to raise just over $50,000, including the $20,000 check there from Cincinnati Bell you can see in the picture, and monetary donations, and nearly $400,000 in non-monetary donations. So definitely want to thank all of our partners in the community that stepped up to collaborate, take care of our family. Coach, parent, student engagement, the POS-UP pulse checks, that was a great presentation. We actually went a different way with it. We knew that our parents had a lot of engagement coming, so we do our positive pulse checks with our coaches. So we check in our coaches on a weekly basis to see different things that they may need to help support them as coaches, and resources to support our students. We did a town hall to start the year, and then implemented skip level coaches meetings, where I was able to sit down in meetings like this and engage all the coaches throughout the district. Our athletic directors, we were able to collaborate over the summer when the pandemic began to create a virtual resource center for our student athletes, a way to keep our students engaged and healthy during the time of unknown. And of course, health and safety. We collaborated with the local, state, and federal agents on and neighboring districts to create a return to play manual to support our schools. We were able to adapt and change and bring on Brent Langhorn, who oversees our elementary athletics, gave him an opportunity to step in as our COVID lead to help support those efforts. Next slide, Ashley. Then after we planned summer, we went straight into fall. Of course, health and safety remained our focus. We had a summer training series with our athletic directors that we titled Adapt and Grow. We worked together to create plan A, B, C to prepare for the school year. And as we started the season, we made adjustments as needed. We did need to adapt in regards to the city championship that we were able to launch. It was a way to support our schools on the sport of football and volleyball for the schools that didn't enter the state tournament. Hughes Big Red was our volleyball champion, and the Western Hills Mustangs were our football champion. I definitely want to recognize Ricky Miller for his instrumental work in leading that initiative. Athlete of the Month. This is something that I started when I was at Walnut Hills and was able to bring it on the district level to highlight and promote our students that excel in the classroom, the community, and of course in athletics. So this year when we didn't have the traditional start, we did adapt and change and created the Athlete of the Month program, but we did it for the full season. So that's the picture that you can see there, our Fall Student Athlete of the Month winner. Next slide. And as we transition from fall to our winter season, we were able to bring back junior high sports, and they had an opportunity to kick off, and we did have some of our elementary schools participate in basketball. It was great to see all the kids back out there and having the opportunity to participate. As we did open up our junior high sports, we were able to have and host a city championship. As you can see there, we've got our Woodward girls basketball program who won the junior high championship, and Hughes won on the boys side of things. We did live stream all of our games this year. As we transitioned from fall to winter, we saw COVID numbers spiking, going up, and we had a no spectator policy. And so we worked tirelessly with our IT department to implement a program to be able to live stream all of our events. And as we wrap up our winter season, we want to highlight Aiken and Walnut Hills, who had wrestlers qualify and compete in the districts. And we had great representation, as we always do, from Walnut Hills at the swimming state tournament. We were able to have a freshman advance and had a swimmer finish 6th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd place in the state. The Taft Senators boys basketball are your Division III district champions. They defeated Anna last evening to advance to the regional finals this Saturday. They have 3 more wins to represent Cincinnati as a state champion. So we're excited to cheer them on Saturday. And then Athlete of the Month. This is fresh off the press. Next slide, please. We were able to announce our Athlete of the Month winners for the winter. That went out on social media today. And if you look a little bit closer, you'll see there is a student athlete on there that has a very similar name and smile as our parent coordinator hosting the meeting. So shout out to Paul McMillan there, Dad, for the honors for your son. Next slide, please. All right, as we wrap up winter and head into spring, we will have all sports at all levels. Spring sports, baseball, softball, track, boys tennis, lacrosse, boys volleyball, and rugby. And elementary sports are getting back into full swing as well as our junior high activities. We will transition to spectators being at the games. I do believe a lot of the schools will continue to live stream some of their events, as we will allow for 2 spectators per student athlete. Remaining with health and safety as a focus, our staff was able to provide book bags for all of the coaches in the district with health and safety items to make sure that we have a healthy and safe spring season. We've got quite a few special events coming up, including the Jackie Robinson weekend, the Gabby Rodriguez Day, our Chris Nelms All-Star Weekend, and of course wrapping it up with our CMAC track meet at the new Stargell Stadium. Next slide, please. The AAA pathway, in partnership with Activities Beyond the Classroom, we were able to launch the Academic and Athletic Accountability Pathway in the 18-19 school year. We started this initiative to fill a need of holistically supporting student athletes. We started and hosted a SALT conference, a student athlete leadership conference, and started an advisory council last school year. We work closely with the NCAA to update our eligibility center and have collaborated with our curriculum department and college departments. And last year we were to present to the Council of Great City Schools in Louisville, and that presentation earned us a highlight in Education magazine. At present, we're continuing virtually with our ACT boot camp, and that's continuing to grow to support our student athletes that need a bump in their ACT score. We've been able to gather great data over the past couple of years with Strive and are looking to use that, the data for intentional and strategic decision making moving forward. In the future, we're looking for continued growth in the impact of the program with support and resources. We're currently creating a video that shares more information about the AAA pathway for our students and families. We're looking to grow a partnership between our student athlete leadership teams on the high school level and begin teams on the elementary level and look to partner those schools up. We have a few pilots that are currently taking place with an extra layer of junior high program support, socio-emotional support, and a recent one with a group called Honest Game that will help our student athletes be more aware of their core courses and their NCAA eligibility. I'd like to take a second to recognize Armin Tatum and Stephanie Price for their great work on this initiative. Next slide, please. And as I wrap up, the team initiative, Together Everyone Achieve Movement. We've been working on this over this past school year, which is an opportunity to really focus in on fundraising, community and parent involvement, and overall building school pride and culture. We've got a great working team that are implementing the team initiative at a few of our schools now, and we'll look to learn from those pilots and look to grow in hopes that starting next school year, everyone will have their Together Everyone Achieves movement at their schools, providing more support and resources to our student athletes in the Cincinnati Public School District. And that's all I got, Paul. I appreciate, again, taking the time for having us here. If there's any questions in regards to athletics or extracurriculars, let me know.
Thank you very much, Josh. Looks like we don't have any questions as it pertains or relates to athletics. So what I'll do is I want to jump back up. I missed a question as it related to POSSIP and answer this question. One parent, Jody, asks, what did the POSSIP surveys today after the board meeting say after the board meeting last night? Jody, I'll say this. If all parents have the opportunity to receive all the POSSIP reports, if you are not receiving POSSIP reports from the district, I strongly encourage any parent that's not receiving a POSSIP report that can't give the feedback that they want to give to make sure that your contact information is up to date with your school. So that's huge. We cannot make sure that you're getting the surveys, the POSSIP reports, the pulse checks, or some of the other information that we send out on the various different platforms if your contact information is not up to date. So I would say start by making sure that your contact information is up to date. Once we move into the question phase, I'll talk a little bit more about some of the other things that you all can do as parents. Obviously, I'm a parent in the district. So if you have celebrations, concerns, issues, whatever the case may be, there are a number of different things that you can do on a regular basis to make sure that your voice is heard. So I won't prolong the time, but when we go into the last segment of the question and answer period, or giving parents the voice to talk for a brief moment, I will talk about some of the other things that we're strongly encouraging parents to do, to stay connected, to be engaged, to make sure that their voices are heard. Obviously, in my role, I am the advocate for parents. So my contact information, and I'm available anytime that need be, and I'll take your concerns via the ones that we get back from POSIP. We review those reports and any other concerns that parents may have. I'll take all of that in consideration and take it to the people that I need to take it to, so that your voices continue to be heard. Again, I am an advocate for the parents. I will make sure that your voices continue to be heard. We just have to make sure that all the proper steps are followed and you all have updated contact information so that we can get the information from you all. But we'll talk a little more about that in the question and answer period. There's a question. Let's see. I'll answer it and then I'll jump to, let's see. Josh, will there be sports camps in the summer? Will there be sports camps in the summer?
Yes, so we're working with our high schools now, and a lot of our high schools will be offering sports camps. They're looking to finalize dates, times, but most of them will be offering sports camps at their schools, as well as our elementary coordinator is collaborating with the Cincinnati Recreation Commission on a few different camp opportunities. We'll blast that out through an email to all the families in the community, as well as share it through the resource coordinator. Good question.
Another question, is soccer coming back for elementary level in the fall? I have to sign my daughter up for soccer club, which is very uncomfortable for her.
Yeah, same as what Safety Cindy said. Everything is fluid, but we are moving forward in the spring with bringing soccer back and have every intention to move forward in the fall for elementary soccer and other elementary activities to return, as well as junior high activities.
Let's see. I think we have one more question. We can answer 3. Is there a minimum play for return to class or during lunchtime? Not sure I actually understand this question, but let's see if we can take a point at it. Athletics, there are minimal social distancing and play for return to class or during lunchtime. Not sure. And it looks like a run-on, so I'm not sure exactly what that's saying. I'm not sure who that question came from, but if you could wait for the raise the hand feature and then re-ask that question, because I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. We'll move right along to our next presenter. Presenters, we're kind of getting light on time, so if you could condense your presentations to maybe just about 5 minutes. We're going to go to Project Connect. We'll jump to Project Connect, which is very important for our district. Program Enrichment Development Specialist, Ms. Rhonda Lewis. And again, Rhonda, we want to give the parents an opportunity to voice their concerns, their celebrations, and things of that nature. So if you could try to condense your presentation to about 5 minutes, that would be great. My apologies, but just really want to give the parents an opportunity for their voices to be heard.
Not a problem. Thank you, Paul. I want to say that I'm very appreciative of this opportunity to present to you information on Project Connect. And just in summary, Project Connect is the Cincinnati Public School program that works with and identifies and serves children, youth, and families who are experiencing homelessness. That is defined by the federal law, the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, as anyone who is lacking a fixed, permanent, nighttime residence. So we have children out in the community who are experiencing homelessness. Sometimes we don't realize that these children are homeless, but they're out there, and I'm going to share with you a few details on how to identify those children and what services we provide. When we identify a child who's experiencing homelessness, our job, we've been mandated by the federal McKinney-Vento Act to identify these children and ensure that they are receive a free and public education and services just as their peers. There are special considerations for homeless and unaccompanied youth. Many times, one of those would be, school stability. We want the children to remain in the same school for 1 year. That's one thing that we really promote. One school, 1 year, or what is best at the best interest of the child. Next page, please. So sometimes, we think that homeless children, we don't understand what that's all about. I kind of liken it to being one of the best kept secrets in the community. There are homeless children. And so we as a group, Project Connect, we do our best to get the word out, to let people know that there are services, let the community know, let the parents know. And we have a really great team, and I want to introduce you to that team and let you know that this team is out there advocating for the parents, they're advocating for the children, they're presenting in the schools, and we're fortunate to have this team. We have Rebecca Beach is a project program manager. Myself, I do enrichment and development. Angela Walker, who is our shelter liaison. We work with about 4 different shelters. We have Kathleen Jump, who is our English language learner, school social worker. She works with that population. We have, next slide, please. We have Danielle Rains, who is our high school, or our Project Connect school counselor. Danielle is charged with working with the seniors, the 12th graders, making sure that they hit their goals, making sure that they have everything they need in order to be successful and graduate. We have Logan Brogdon. He's our high school academic coach for males. He's at Taft and West High. We have Julie Tucker Sullivan, who's a high school homeless liaison, and Monica McKay, who's at Withrow and Woodward. Next slide, please. We have Mark Patton, who works with our preschool population, early childhood education. We understand that it's very important that children are enrolled in preschool so that they're ready for kindergarten, and that's Mark's role. And then we have 2 elementary liaisons, Tiara and Megan. Like I said, it's always good to put a name with a face with a name. You'll be working with these parents if you are identified with, with these liaisons, if you are identified as a family or a child that's experiencing homelessness. And just so you know, this is a really good team. They're out there advocating on behalf of these children. Next slide, please. Who's eligible for this program? Who's eligible for our services? Anyone who has been displaced for any reason other than a lifestyle choice, they're eligible for our Project Connect services. And this includes those who are living in a public or private place that's not really, they shouldn't be living there. That would be like an abandoned building. Families who are sharing housing, those who we consider doubled up. They're either residing with families or friends, and it's due to economic hardship. Perhaps there's been a house fire. Perhaps there's been a loss of utilities. They are for children. Families and children who are living in hotels and motels, trailer parks, living in cars, living in abandoned buildings. And let us not forget our unaccompanied youth. These children and youth are not in the care of a parent or legal guardian. Perhaps they were dropped off one day at a friend's house and mom or dad never came back for them. These children are out there and they are considered unaccompanied youth, and we can serve them, as each of our liaisons are also certified surrogates and can sign off on IEPs and anything relating education related. Next slide, please. Our Project Connect services we have multiple services, and this just names a few, but transportation. A lot of times these children will need help with transportation, getting back and forth to school, uniforms, school supplies. We host parent engagement sessions, especially at the shelters. We've provided students with electronic devices and getting them connected to the internet. There's been referrals to community resources. enrichment activities within the schools, such as STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math, peer mentoring, social emotional groups, women writing for a change, and shelter tutoring. Next slide, please. In addition to those services, and some of these we already hit on, the preschool priority. If a child is experiencing homelessness preschool age, it does give them priority on the enrollment list for preschool. And we also have our summer academic and enrichment program, which is a 6-week program for children ages 5 to 13 who have experienced homelessness, where they receive academics and enrichment, as well as it helps with summer learning loss. We have our school counselor support, surrogacy services, and our social worker, and we have a resource center. Next slide, please. How do you connect with Project Connect? To contact us, you can simply call our office. You can visit us on the website. We have a website that you can actually find a lot of resources. We have resource area on our website. So I would encourage you to either call our office, go to our website, and get connected with one of our homeless liaisons. One thought I want to leave you with is that homelessness has no barriers. It can connect and be a part of any of our lives at any time. So with that being said, and that's the end of my presentation, I just want to know if there were any questions.
Thank you, Rhonda. Let me stroll through the chat to see if there are any questions about Project Connect. Great presentation. Project Connect is huge for our district, as are the rest of the programs and resources that our district provides. So we did have one other presentation, but for the sake of time, it's 7:40 right now. Again, I want to make sure that our parents' voices are heard and hear from our parents. Parents, we do ask that you use the raise your hand feature, and you'll be called as in order from the raise your hand feature that if you're on the Blue Jeans platform. Also, we ask that you only take 60 seconds to answer your question. Obviously, we have a lot going on in the district with some of the changes that are going on. So a lot of our parents have questions, celebrations, and some even complaints. So we want to make sure that we leave time for to hear from as many of our parents as we can. So it's about 7:40. We have about 20 minutes, and we'll jump right in to our questions. Ashley, if you can bring our parents in, I have the timer going. Again, parents, please don't take more than 60 seconds so that we can hear from us. Who's first? I'm sorry. We will be hearing from Vanessa first. So we'll take your question or your comment, Vanessa.
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we hear you clearly. And if you can, we have some of the presenters are on. If you have a direct question, please direct your question to whichever presenter that you need to. But yes, we can hear you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. First of all, I want to say thank you for this program for the homeless children. It's awesome. I didn't know about it. Thank you. I have a question. I'm a parent of a student at Walnut Hills, and I'm seriously concerned about having all students now, not even half of them, in the same building as before. I cannot understand how we can keep changing the parameters of safety from one week to the other. It's bothering me a lot. It's not following science in any way or shape. It's following feelings of people, and then people will get hurt. That's my problem. The CDC has been very clear what are.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Vanessa, thank you very much for your question and your insight. I'll allow Safety Cindy to comment on that. Safety Cindy, if you could comment on Miss Vanessa's. Thank you again, Miss Vanessa.
Hi, Ms. Vanessa. Thank you so much. Great information from all the presenters. And I know a major focus is on everybody's mind is, how is the school and the district pivoting to support the decision of the board, which is based on a lot of evolving information and guidance from the local authorities, from the local health department, from the state department, and from the federal guidance. So though I understand your comments, we are also in a setting in a community that is doing well. We have data that shows that our safety protocols are working, and we need to be able to move forward with providing what we feel and the board has voted on the best opportunities for our students, and that is the opportunity of choice, so to be in the schools, and the opportunity of choice to be remote and at distance. So I understand your question, and that's the question on many people's minds. We will continue to enforce and support these safety protocols, the temperature checks in the building. I know that was a question early on. Yes, we will be continuing those temperature checks. We will be doing many key things that are utmost importance, including the universal masking, including the hand washing, the cleaning, the processes that you guys don't see that goes on behind the scenes. The social distancing we will maintain to the best of our ability, the maximum that we can, given the students coming back in the parameters that we have. We cannot promise 6 feet, but we will promise to do the best to maximize that to the extent possible. And again, we work with those evolving situations as we find more information and are guided by both our internal partners and our external partners.
Thank you, Safety Cindy. Our next question is from Dr. Nasay. Dr. Nasay. Are you there,
Hello.
Doctor? Hello, how are you?
Doing well, sir. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I just have a brief statement and then a question for the group. My name is Nafe Fanana-Pazir. This is my wife, Katrina. I am a general pediatrician in the community, also certified in pediatric emergency medicine, the parent of 3 children in Cincinnati Public Schools and 2 at Walnut Hills. We're fully grateful to each member of the board, to the superintendent, to Cynthia, other CPS administrators, to each and every teacher for for their often thankless role in making a difficult decision with challenges on both sides. I represent a group of 5 Walnut Hills pediatrician parents. We are very supportive and will continue to be supportive of returning to school 5 days a week. We are happy to serve as a resource for risk mitigation and are supportive of everything that Cynthia was talking about. So, universal masking, emphasizing hygiene, hand sanitizers, hand washing, ventilation when possible, frequent room cleaning, open windows when possible, creative approaches to the lunch issue, physical distancing to the extent possible, surveillance testing when appropriate, promoting vaccination in the community at large, and then alternative online options as feasible. We strongly believe that these mitigation strategies will minimize risks to the children and to the community at large, while promoting their mental health, educational opportunities, and we shouldn't forget, the impact this is having on their future potential for all of our children. So just in general, if the question really is, what can we do as pediatricians that do understand both sides of the issue? How can we be most helpful at?
Thank you very much for your comments and your questions, Safety Cindy. If you could respond to the doctor, and I wrote down his name. If you could, I'm sure we have contact information for you, but we definitely want to get your contact information and make sure we have contact information for that entire group. But Safety Cindy, if you can respond to the question, what could him and the rest of the pediatricians that are in their group do to potentially help us out or partner with CPS or what have you?
So I have your name. That's awesome. I really appreciate that. I actually don't have an immediate answer for you. And I greatly appreciate your comments. I know it's a very, very challenging situation for a lot of reasons, but to have support and our partners on the outside, including individuals such as yourself, I will be in short contact to at least get that information. And it is an evolving situation. There are many different dynamics. So the choices that the board has been able to vote on is phenomenal. And I'm very excited to be able to work. I'm sorry. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. No, I'm very excited to be able to work in this forum, to be able to support some of the newer situations coming in that were identified last night. The vaccinations of the staff, we're looking forward to doing vaccinations for the students if and when that, when that becomes available. But also the screening, testing that is being evaluated, all of those are just very forward-looking, but evolving. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So we're going to jump to Carol next for a question. But before we jump to Carol, let me take 20 seconds to say this. In my role, my primary job is to try to increase parent engagement. That's a district goal. So for me, I take pride in it. I have fun doing it. But I'll say this: for our parents, to make your voices heard. To easily make your voices heard, to have the quickest impact that you all would like to see. The things that you should do, the biggest thing that I really recommend is connecting to your school. There are parent-teacher organizations, PTA, PTO, and parent organizations. We strongly encourage our parents to join those because if you join those parent organizations, your voice is immediately heard. You're directly connected to the school, which is the principal, the resource coordinator, the LSDMC, so on and so forth, and they're directly connected to us at the district level and connected to the different offices at the district level. So what I would encourage you is to connect to your parent organization as soon as possible. But I just wanted to throw that in, but Carol, we'll jump right over to you. How are you doing? Good evening.
Hi, good evening. I did want to thank especially Safety Cindy for, all the efforts you guys have done for keeping our kids safe and healthy in these hardest of times. I appreciate that you are listening to the voices of those of us parents who have children who suffer greatly not being present in school. That you recognize that mental health needs to be balanced with physical and while still keeping things physically safe. I guess my question just would be, how do I thank you guys? Seriously, I mean, Hyde Park has just been beyond the pale in taking care of the students' health, and Spencer, oh my goodness. How do we, do you have medals? That's all.
Thank you, Carol, for your comments. I'm sure we have, I know our assistant superintendent is on, pretty much all of our offices at the district level. We have several principals on, teachers are on. So I really appreciate those comments, and I'm sure just district-wide, they appreciate those comments. How you can thank us. I would say again, just be engaged at the school level. Continue to have a voice. Continue to advocate for your child and your children, and just support your school, your children's school, in whatever way possible. That is what serves an immediate impact. That has an immediate impact. So again, thank you for your comments. Very much appreciated. And we'll go to the next person. The next question comes from Susan. Susan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Hi,
good evening,
can you
Susan.
hear me?
How are you? Yes, ma'am. I hear you clearly.
My question is, feeling like for our family situation and also for the community, we will probably need to keep our child home for the rest of the school year. We were presented with this option late January, and looked into the Cincinnati Digital Academy, which didn't offer 3 of our son's 6 classes. And now we're being presented with Cincinnati Digital Academy, or from what we listened to the board meeting last night, basically the distance learning option they kept saying was a strict Schoology without instruction. And then today we got the email that said, while it might have a pilot program for the distance learning students, but there's no information on it. So my question to the curriculum coordinator tonight is, when will we learn, like my son is taking, and it's not just about my son, but when will we learn how our children who have to remain at home will be able to like finish 3 AP classes through a distance learning? CDA doesn't offer them.
And Liz, I know your department is a little different, but I can kind of touch on that and direct her in the right direction. But do you have an immediate answer, or at least some sort of direction for this parent? And I'm
I
sorry,
do.
the name. I'm sorry, I lost the name again. Can you say what
I think
say
her
the
name
name
is
again? I'm sorry.
Susan.
Susan
Susan. I'm
Early.
sorry. My
Yes, Susan
apologies, Susan.
Early.
Yes, Susan. Can you please give Susan some assistance, please?
Absolutely. So Susan, I will try my best. So I know that the AP coordinator, his name is Craig Hoover, and so I am writing your name down right now so I can get in touch with Craig. I know that they have been offering AP through the virtual option. And I do know that the CDA option with working with the homeschool looked different in the fall than it is looking now in the spring. So we are working through the final details of that, and I would be more than happy to connect with Craig Hoover about your AP concerns, and we'll be more than happy to get with you first thing tomorrow morning. I know I don't have an answer for you right now, and I do apologize, but I will follow up with you tomorrow morning after speaking with our AP manager on that.
Also, the IT department is working directly with the schools. Again, she'll follow up with you tomorrow. Liz will have an opportunity to follow up with you tomorrow. Did we get her school and make sure we have her contact information? So, and then if you don't hear from someone by tomorrow, but I know Liz will follow up with you, you can always reach out to me, and then I'll follow up with a number of different things going on and everybody's schedule, being pretty busy. But I'll make sure that I follow up to make sure that your question is answered. So yeah, connect. I think she's at Walnut. Is that correct? Okay. Okay, so I think she's at Walnut. Susan, her child is at Walnut. So yes, the IT department is working directly with Walnut. We have a plethora of questions about Walnut. So yes, we'll make sure that someone from the curriculum department reaches back out to you tomorrow morning. All right. Next, we will move to Don. Don, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I hear you. How are you, Don?
I'm doing fine. How are you all?
No complaints.
Good. I just had a question. First of all, I wanted to commend all of you for your efforts, and all the Cincinnati Public School District for taking care of our kids. That's always understated. We appreciate that. My question is, they had a scheduling for all the kids, but mine was especially for the 7th and 8th graders for next year. And I think it's going to be a meeting on the 17th, if if I'm correct, but I didn't get a chance to listen to that meeting or be a part of that meeting. So I was wondering if anybody can share any information about that, if it was recorded or have any information on that.
So Don, just to be clear, you're looking for information as it relates to next school year and scheduling.
That's what it says. It says there was a meeting today, a Google Meet at 6 o'clock today for
For
scheduling
your
for the
school, what
7th and
school was
8th
that
grade
for? What school,
for
Don?
SCPA.
SCPA.
Creative and Performing Arts. Yes.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll make sure that your questions are answered and someone from your school follows up with you no later than tomorrow. If
Okay.
you could, Liz, if you could write Don's name down, Don Roper, and we'll get his information, your contact information, and we'll have someone follow up with you
Okay.
from SCPA to make sure that you're up to date and aware of what is going on as far as scheduling for next school year.
I appreciate
Okay.
that. That's all I had. And thanks to God for everybody helped us out. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you very much for your question.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Next we'll take two more questions because I know it's 8 o'clock. My apologies to the team. I know everyone has a lot to do, but it's 8 o'clock. I want to make sure that we hear from as many parents as possible. And we did start our question and answer period a few minutes late, so I want to answer at least two more questions. I will say this, and then we'll jump to the next person. Who's the next person? Amy will be the next person, but I do want to throw this out there for parents. We will have another district-wide parent meeting toward the end of next month. And in that meeting, I should have someone on. I will have someone on to present the information as it relates to our summer programming. CPS will have summer programming. We'll have enrichment as well as some grade levels will have credit recovery. So that's a big thing, big thing for us here at the district level. I wanted to make sure I push that out there to you also, that you all know there will be some time. Surveys are going out. Connect with your school at the school level and ask questions about our summer programming because that's important. A lot of parents have had concerns about the virtual learning, the blended learning model, so on and so forth. But we also now we have opportunities to recover some of those credits and continue to be engaged and continue to learn throughout the summer. So that information will be presented in our next meeting for sure. But if you connect to your school, your building principals and building representatives should have information as it relates to our summer programming as well. I'll take two more questions and then we'll jump off. Two more questions. So we have, I believe it's Amy.
Yes. Hi. Thanks for taking
Good
my
evening.
question. I don't have anything prepared. I wasn't planning to ask, but I did want to ask Safety Cindy, just to really clarify the distance. She keeps mentioning when possible 6 feet, but the issue for the Walnut parents was it was not 3 feet nostril to nostril in hybrid. And so a full return, even with 10 to 20% of parents considering the remote options, whatever they may end up being, it seems like the distance is 0 to 3 feet. And I'm actually compiling a letter right now to the Ohio Department of Health and the Cincinnati Public School Board and Cincinnati Public Health and Hamilton County, and then Hamilton County Commissioner Alicia Reese. So I want to make sure that I get this information accurate. So the board voted 5 days to return, and they understand that Walnut didn't have the 3 to 6 feet always at hybrid, but a full return, we don't have the guarantee of even 3 feet. So it's 0 to 3 feet on the bus.
So we will maximize to the extent possible the distancing, but we can't promise it will be 3 to 6 feet. That's something that we need to continue to work through and decide how the district will be able to provide that when the full, when we have the 5-day back in full. So
Do you mind if I? He did not agree that 0 to 3 foot. When he agreed, it was the 3 to 6 foot. So which health entity okayed 0 to 3 feet with the new variants in Cincinnati Public? That's what I'm trying to figure out, because
So I have Amy Boy, I have her name. I will get back to her offline. I just don't have that information right now, and I don't know if she's actually on. But I can get back to her on that information and talk with that question once I know more. Is that fair?
Thank you, Safety Cindy.
I
Yeah.
don't see her.
Well, she may have jumped off, but we have her contact information, and if you
Okay,
could
if you
follow
can
up with
send that
Amy, that would
to,
be great.
yeah, great,
Okay.
thank you.
We'll take one last question. It's 8:04, so that's means we'll be wrapping up about 8:05. The last question is from Paul. You have the same name as me. Hello, Paul.
Hey,
Good
Paul.
evening.
Yeah, good name there. I have a kid at Walnut Hills. I just had a question. I'm trying to. I don't even know. I've heard stuff about the board meeting. I don't even know what's going on. Like, I don't know how to find out what's going on. And I personally don't think older kids, even 1,500 kids in that school building is a good idea, much less 3,000. But how do I even find out what the plan is? I hear people talking about 5 days returning, and I don't even know. Like, I didn't get an email. I don't know where to go or where to look.
So, Safety Cindy, you want to take a shot at that, or if not, I can answer it from my standpoint.
So I know from the standpoint of the board meeting, if you want to view the board meeting, those are actually videotaped, correct? So that information.
No, I don't need to view a board meeting. I just want to know what is the plan for Walnut Hills, and how do I find out? Who do I ask? Where do I go? I don't know. I literally don't know where to go.
The plan for Walnut Hills, and again, that'd be something that I can circle back and give you information on as far as where you can go to find out that information. It was presented in the board last night, and so that will continue to be developed based on just last night's ruling on what was decided for the district. The leadership will now be developing those plans to be able to roll out those district-wide 5-day back. So that's something that the district leadership and the schools are working on.
So with that question being finalized or answered, we're going to wrap up the meeting again. Want to thank you all of the parents, everyone, all of our community members, community partners, everyone from the district level, all of our CPS offices that are represented that came on to present, and a ton of others that are on. Our board members, our assistant superintendents, and so forth and so on. I'd like to thank everyone for attending the meeting and coming on. Again, we will have another parent meeting with resources provided and a sort of an open discussion. At the end of the meeting, we'll do that again for the fourth quarter, as well as we'll host another parent meeting this summer that'll talk about moving into next school year. So we'll do a couple more of these meetings before we get to next school year. Again, the biggest thing that I want parents to take from this meeting is stay connected, stay engaged, and have a voice. And make sure that you're connected. When I say stay connected, make sure that you're connected to your school and engage with your school. Make sure that you have a voice. You're a part of the PTO, PTA parent organization. Make sure that you're reaching out to and staying connected with your children or your child's teachers, and make sure that your voice is heard. Again, on behalf of our district, my name is Paul McMillan. I'm the ABC District Parent Coordinator for Cincinnati Public Schools. Thank you all for joining us for this meeting tonight, and we will see you all soon. Also, any way, shape, or form, or everything that you need to know, or you may have questions to, you can always visit the Cincinnati Public Schools website, or also go to the Cincinnati Public Schools Facebook page, where there are updates daily on the website, as well as the social media pages for Cincinnati Public Schools. Thank you all, and have a great evening.